The curse of Oak Island continues to stir the curious minds from all over the world. Why haven't people found the treasure for 200 years? Today, it's hard to find someone who hasn't heard of Oak Island and the mystery hidden deep beneath its surface. Treasure hunters are convinced they know the exact location of the hidden riches. However, until now no one has been able to extract them. From there, the mystery of who created such a complex security system to store these valuables remains unsolved. On Oak Island, that can't even be breached with the most advanced technology. Today, I'm going to tell you what's hidden on Oak Island and why the treasure just can't be found. Let's go. The treasures of the French crown. In 1909, future American leader Franklin Roosevelt took part in one of the treasure hunting expeditions. After carefully analyzing numerous sources, he concluded that the legendary treasure really does exist. And its value, according to Roosevelt, exceeded $10 million. He believed that the treasures of the French monarchy might be located on Oak Island. However, Roosevelt also considered the possibility that the treasure might be related to pirates. Henry Morgan or Blackbeard. The theory that the treasure has pirate origins remains the most popular one. Scientists believe that the famous Henry Morgan might have hidden his trophies on this island after his infamous raid known as the Panama Sack. The loot, captured from the Spaniards in Peru, was so huge that it took 1 million people to transport it across the Isthmus of Panama. About 200 Neals. The fate of this fortune is mysterious. A secure place was made to hide the wealth, wrapped in mystery. One thing is clear, a secure hiding place was created to conceal such wealth. There's another theory connected to the pirate Edward Teach, known as Blackbeard. In a short period of time, he captured around 20 ships, loaded with gold as they crossed the Atlantic. What happened to those treasures? Just like with what was looted by Morgan, it's unknown. Pirates community. Another version suggests that the money mine on Oakland could have served as a sort of storage facility for a group of pirates. A sort of communal fund where they hid their treasures. Only they knew how to get inside without the risk of flooding. Nevertheless, many scholars question this theory, considering it highly unlikely that pirates could have created such a complex system. After all, building such a structure requires not only special knowledge, but also a significant amount of time. However, it's worth noting that such structures weren't unique. The works of the 15th century German scholar, George Agricola, contain drawings similar to the design of the Oak Island treasure vault, the treasure of St. Andrew's Cathedral. There is speculation among some researchers that the money mine may contain Scottish treasures. For centuries, St. Andrew's Cathedral has been a collection and storage site for gold, precious stones, and other valuable items. In the early to mid-17th century, these treasures suddenly disappeared, and since then, no one knows what happened to them. Perhaps they ended up hidden on Oak Island. The Templar treasure. In his book, The Lost Treasure of the Templars, Solving the Mystery of Oak Island, American scientist Stephen Soar puts forward the theory that the mysterious treasure on the island was hidden by the Knights Templar. The order indeed had vast reserves of valuables, as well as the necessary skills to build such a complex storage system. Support for this hypothesis comes from the discovery of a stone cross during further excavations in the Money Pit. The Legend of the Seven. When I was gathering material for the video, one local legend kept bothering me. And then I started to think, could this be the reason why these treasures haven't been found for 2 centuries? It turns out that there is a legend according to which a mystical curse has been placed on the island. The mysterious treasures will only appear after the island claims 7 lives. The origins of this curse remain shrouded in the darkness of mystery, but the facts speak for themselves. Already 6 people who took part in the treasure hunt have died on the island. These unfortunate souls were named Carl Greiser, Cyril Heitz, and Robert Restall Sr. Robert Restall Jr., Maynard Kaiser, and an unidentified treasure hunter. Kaiser fell into a pit and the worker died in a pump explosion. Kaiser tragically fell into one of the excavation pits, while the unidentified worker was killed in an explosion from a mechanical pump. Greiser, Hitz, and Robert Restall Sr. met their end on the same fateful August day in 1965. According to eyewitness accounts, Robert Restall Sr. descended into the shaft, unaware of the deadly natural gases. Videoshik V. Inside, he lost consciousness, and then his son rushed to his aid, but he too was powerless against the poisonous air. Heath, Grazer, and another worker named Andy Dement followed them in an attempt to rescue Beeristles. However, only Dement was able to survive. Who will be the 7th? And will he be the last victim that Oak Island claims? to reveal the treasure's mystery? These questions really concern me. What about you? The digging begins. The search for the mysterious treasure on Oak Island began with 3 teenage boys. On a summer day in 1795, Jack Smith, Daniel McGinnis, and Andy Morgan set out to play pirates on a small island that was located near their home on the east coast of Nova Scotia. However, the game was soon interrupted by a strange discovery. They were drawn to a huge oak tree. One of its thick branches had been cut off, and hanging from it was something that looked like a box. The guys also noticed that the ground under the branch had sunk, as if something had been dug up there once. The pit was then hastily filled in. The boys immediately realized that this was not without reason and was possible. Someone buried a treasure here. They decided to try to find it on their own. Without telling the adults, they agreed to come back the next day with the necessary tools for digging. The next morning, the guys returned to the island and started their search. After a while, having dug through the top layer of clay, they stumbled upon stone slabs. The young treasure hunters were convinced that a chest filled with priceless treasures lay beneath the slabs. Instead, they discovered a deep shaft, at the bottom of which lay pickaxes and shovels. Now the boys were completely convinced that the treasure really existed. And with renewed energy, they continued their work. They kept digging deeper. And every 10 feet, they encountered wooden platforms covered with a layer of dirt. Reaching a depth of 29.5 feet, they found the third wooden platform made of logs and realized that they couldn't handle this on their own. So they decided not to tell anyone about their discovery for now and to come back to the search later. Before leaving, they carefully covered up the spot where they had been searching. Resuming the search. A few years later, the friends took up the treasure hunt again. Returning to the island with other treasure hunters, they continued the digging they had started earlier. As they progressed, they encountered wooden platforms again, as well as layers of charcoal, mixed with gravel and coconut fiber. Finally, at a depth of 89 feet, they came across a rectangular stone with mysterious symbols, which they couldn't decipher. After this stone was discovered, water started to flow into the shaft. They decided to explore the bottom of the money pit, as they had called it since childhood, using long poles. It turned out that there was an object down there that resembled a big chest. The treasure hunters put in their best effort to lift it, but after spending the whole day working hard, they decided to postpone the lift until tomorrow. This decision turned out to be fateful. The next morning, treasure hunters discovered that the mine was half filled with water. All attempts to pump out the water were in vain, and the first team of treasure hunters left empty-handed. A new attempt. 19th century. Almost half a century later, a new attempt was made to extract the mysterious treasure from the depths of the island. During exploratory drilling in the shaft, the drill encountered an obstacle that turned out to be gold chains. This confirmed the presence of treasure at the bottom of the shaft. In addition, it was possible to decipher the mysterious symbols on the stone, found by the first researchers in 1803. The inscription indicated that 2 million pounds sterling were hidden at a depth of 10 feet. The leader of the drilling team reported that there are at least 2 large chests, or barrels of treasure, at the bottom. Inspired by this discovery, the treasure hunters began pumping water out of the mine with renewed enthusiasm, making additional holes. However, this measure led to an unexpected result. The waterlogged ground collapsed, taking the treasure deep into the earth. In 1850, a new team of treasure hunters decided to learn from all the mistakes of past attempts and approach the excavation more carefully. Oak Island was thoroughly surveyed. 5 underwater currents were discovered, flowing from the sea and connecting to the money pit. 10 years later, several underground tunnels and drainage channels were discovered on the island. Treasure hunters realized that the mysterious treasures were protected by a complex engineering system that filled the shaft with water every time when someone tries to get to it. To achieve their goal, the diggers literally had to fight against the Atlantic Ocean. The companies involved in the treasure hunt had to invest significant amounts in water pumping systems and develop various strategies to bypass the ocean, but it consistently came out on top. Another group of treasure hunters has left the UK island empty-handed. A new wave of explorers arrived on the island. At the end of the 19th century, she decided to act differently. Instead of trying to pump the water out of the money shaft, they tried to block its access. The large-scale work required significant financial investment, and the company leaders responsible for the excavation took a risk. Embankments were erected on the island and new wells were drilled. The participants were confident that success was near, but the ocean water prevailed again. Once again, the treasure slipped through everyone's fingers. 20th century. By the beginning of the new 20th century, there was practically nothing left of the money pit, as the land in that area had been so thoroughly dug up that it became impossible to determine what was where. In the first half of the century, there were at least 4 attempts to find the mysterious treasure. 5 new shafts were dug, the deepest of which reached a depth of 170 feet. In 1935, a 7,500 kilowatts power line was laid on the island. They installed turbo compressors to pump out the water, but all efforts once again proved to be in vain. And this was 140 years after the discovery of the money pit. Oak Island steadfastly kept its secrets, refusing to share them with anyone. In 1938, a new treasure hunter, Edmund Hamilton, arrived on the island. He dug a whopping 58 new shafts. He reopened the money pit, digging deeper into it and confirming the existence of a second water tunnel and an underground river. The first decade after the end of World War II became a truly mystical period. In search of treasure, the island began to attract all sorts of magicians, psychics, and mediums in droves. But their abilities couldn't help solve the mystery of the treasure. In 1955, a Texas oil consortium led by George Green joined the treasure hunt. During the drilling operations, it became clear that there were sinkholes beneath the island. Green claimed that they pumped 100,000 gallons of water into one of the shafts, but he didn't know where it went. In 1961, the coastal waters of Oak were also thoroughly explored, but no treasures were found. After the death of Robert Restall in 1965 and most of his team, oil engineer Robert Dunfield arrived on the island, leading new large-scale excavations. He built a dam connecting the island to the mainland and brought in bulldozers and graders to the money pit. Over the course of several months, Oak underwent significant changes. A sinkhole with a diameter of 82 feet and a depth of 130 feet formed at the site of the money pit. The pit no longer existed. Instead, there was a 100-foot hole, private property. By the end of the 20th century, roads were laid on the island, but access to it became possible only on certain days and hours, as Oak became private property. In 1965, businessman Daniel Blankenship purchased part of the island and began drilling. Another plot was bought by his competitor, Fred Nolan. Unfortunately, their efforts to find the treasure also ended up going nowhere. In 1998, David Tobias got involved. Confident that modern technology would finally allow him to retrieve the treasures from the depths of the island. The expedition lasted 5 years, but like the previous attempts, it ended in failure. The reality showed the curse of Oak Island. In 2008, brothers Rick and Marty Lagina became co-owners of the company that controls a significant portion of Oak Island. On January 6, 2014, the first episode of their reality show titled The Curse of Oak Island premiered on the History Channel, focusing on the search for the legendary treasures on Oak Island. And now, the 12th season of the show aired on November 12, 2024. The series is very popular online and tells the story of the island, the mystery of Oak Island, and the adventures of the team trying to uncover ancient artifacts and treasures. During the filming, the treasure hunters found a lot of artifacts, including coins from the 17th and 18th centuries, jewelry, weapons, and other metal items. However, nothing significant has been found so far. Conclusion. The treasures of Oak Island have been enticing explorers for over 2 centuries, but so far, none of the treasure hunters have managed to successfully complete their mission. A complex security system protecting the treasures on Oak Island continues to keep it secret. Will anyone ever be able to solve this mystery? Time will tell. In the meantime, friends, I want to make you an interesting offer. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, you can voice over videos in Russian, English, and other languages. Or do you write interesting scripts? We would be happy to work with you. Message our Telegram bot. The link is in the description. That's all for today. See you next time.